Okay, brilliant. We are here at last, live. We're live. Brilliant. I'm so sorry for anyone who's been waiting for us to go live. We had a few technical issues. For some reason, the Hangouts on Air was disabled and we couldn't go live. But I Googled it, figured it out, and now I'm here. So hopefully you can all see and hear me all okay. I'm going to see if I can just bring up the chat box. And if anyone has any questions at all, please do start typing them in the chat box. So this evening we are talking all about early rising, and it's such a hot topic at the moment. It really is the thing of the moment. Every message I get is my child's waking up at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 5:30, and it has a lot to do with the time of year. It really does have a lot to do with that. Some of you might have notorious early risers anyway, but for those of you who think, no, my child normally sleeps till 6, 7, something like that, what's going on right now, then it really is likely to be to do with the season. So first thing I'm going to do is talk to you a little bit about why they wake up early, what causes it, the actual causes, and then I'm going to talk through the things that you can do to help prevent it. So to start with, what causes, why does it happen? Why does your child wake up early? The light mornings and light evenings do mess with our circadian rhythm. So if you imagine, I don't know, some of you may know more about circadian rhythms than others. So I'm going to break this down and make it really simple. So daylight triggers our internal body clock, and it helps us know when it's nighttime, when it's daytime. It goes right back to our beginning, the beginning of mankind. And we were living in caves, and the sun would come up, we'd go out and start our day, and then it would get dark and we would retire and go sleep. And it's how we've been functioning forever. So when we have these really light mornings and really light evenings, as we do at this time of year, I mean, we're in the middle of June right now, and here in the UK, it's really light. It can throw those body clocks off a bit. So sure, small children are thinking, well, it's not actually getting dark. And, even though they know, or maybe they know, if they're toddler, preschooler, even sort of early school age, they might be well aware that it is bedtime, but it's light, and you can explain it to them. But that doesn't stop the biological effects still happening. And if you can imagine all the other factors that are coming into play, so subtle things you don't notice, like they're getting ready for bed and then they walk through the hallway and the landing and the sun's pouring in, and all these little triggers all the time, making them think that they should be up for the day. And again, the same thing happens in the morning. So if there's any crack of daylight coming through into their bedroom, they're going to start to wake. And that's not, that's involuntary. That's not them going, oh, it's morning, okay, I better get up. That light does start to wake you. It naturally does wake you and bring you out of sleep. So that can all be happening as well. So that's one reason as to why it happens. And now talk a little bit about some of the things that aren't seasonal, because there may be people on here going, yeah, this happens all year round. So other things that, one of the biggest causes of early rising is overtiredness. Those of you who have followed me for a while or spoken to me in the past will know that I'm always talking about that. Overtiredness can really be the root of so many nighttime sleep problems. So if your little one isn't getting as much sleep in the daytime as needed, then it's likely to cause early waking. It could be the naps. It could be that the naps have been affected because there's more activity going on in the summertime and they're not getting the daytime sleep that perhaps they were, or maybe they never were. It could also the overtiredness can also be coming in because of the light evenings. So, we're all inclined to maybe stay out a bit later, go to the park, play outside a bit longer, wrap up the day a little bit later. And that can affect it too. Overtiredness can creep in there, just the odd late bedtime coming in here and there. We all do it. And we've got to have a life too. So it's understandable. But even if it happens just once a week, twice a week, you think, oh, it's just a one-off, it'll be okay. You might be paying for it for the next week or so. It can really have that much effect. So overtiredness creeping in through not getting the daytime sleep needed or going to bed too late can affect the early rise. It can cause early rising. Then they're going to rise early, they're going to start the day too early, and then maybe not nap again, maybe go to bed too late again. And so that overtiredness just continues. It's you know, it perpetuates the whole way through. And this is why people come a little bit unraveled. So you've got the light and you've got the overtiredness, and it may be all of that working together in one big go. So these are reasons why early rising occurs. I'm just checking the chat here. So, okay, fine. Any questions, please do type them in whenever you want, because I will look at that periodically, and I will come to your questions shortly. So my next piece then is about what you can do about it. So if you have got a little one that wakes too early, what can you do about it? How can you stop this from happening? Now, the answer to this is going to differ for everybody. It's going to differ depending on why they're waking early to start with. If they're waking early because there's too much light coming in the room, then blacking out the light might be that could be the solution. If they're waking early because they are, I don't know, 2 years old and not napping at all in the day, then there's your answer. Get them down to sleep after lunch. That might fix it. So the answer could be different for everybody. So I'm going to give you a range of tools here, and you can pick out what you think maybe is the missing piece for you. So just touched on a couple of them. So blacking out all natural light is really, really helpful. I've seen, heard, and tried all kinds of tricks myself, and it can mean getting quite creative to block out every last chink of natural light coming into the room. Black out blinds, black out curtains over the top, velcroing the blind to the window, whatever it takes. If there's the slightest bit of light coming through, it can have an effect. Some kids are affected more than others, but it's worth, if you're having a problem, process of elimination, let's get rid of that one, and black out all the natural light. So do that at bedtime, do that before they go into their room, so that they're entering the room, it's in complete darkness as far as natural light goes. And if you need some light in the room, go for an artificial light, a night light, keep it a dim level light. They've changed all the wattage here. I used to say 4 watts, I don't know what that is now, but just a very dim, a dim light. If you think of on a scale of 0 to 10, if 10 was pitch black, you want to be up there at around about an 8 when they're going down to sleep. So an artificial light is okay. Keep it dim, ideally red or amber in color, and definitely stay away from white lights and blue lights, because they really still mess with the circadian rhythms. They actually suppress the melatonin, which is the sleepy hormone. So stay away from those color lights. And artificial light, it doesn't have the same effect as daylight. So having a dim red light is actually the best type of light if you're going to have any light in the room. My son sleeps with a very dim red light all night. He gets scared of the dark. He doesn't want it to be in pitch black. I can understand that. And this light really does not affect his sleep whatsoever. So a very dim red coloured light. I think I've harped on about that enough. So you've got your artificial light for whatever you need. Maybe you're having a bedtime story, so you might need to have a bit more light until you finish story time. But when it's what I call lights out time, so that might be putting the baby into the cot or tucking the toddler into bed, or whatever the arrangement, at lights out, you go to the light setting that you're going to have for the rest of the night. And that's it. It stays that way until morning. Keep all that light blocked out throughout the night and in the early morning. Now, a few other tips I want to give you on the light front. This goes for the preparation up to bedtime as well. So have a wind down period, have a good sort of hour before bedtime where things are calm, quite chilled out. You don't want to be running around and hectic just before and then going right to bed now, because it's a lot for a little one to just kind of wind down and shut down a bit. So have some calm time, quiet time. And if you do have the routine of a bath before bed, then try and make that not in a really bright sunny bathroom, for instance. I'm not saying black out the bathroom, but if you can just draw some shades, close the blinds partially, or just to try and dim the level a little bit. Likewise, if you've got a very brightly lit hallway, light flooding in through from downstairs naps. They go upstairs so that when they come out of the bathroom, they're in their pajamas, ready for bed. They can go through to their room and not suddenly have to go through this sort of bright, shiny light time. So in the preparation leading up to bedtime, it's important too. And if you're tackling a toddler, for instance, or a little preschool, or one that's doing the classic getting out of bed at bedtime 100 times and you're taking them back, if that bedroom door is opening and closing a lot, maybe you're going in and checking on them or reassuring them, maybe for whatever reason, if their door or the door of the room where they're sleeping is being opened and closed, just make sure each time you open that door, there's not floods of light pouring in. So it sounds simple when I say it, but you'd be amazed how actually it's something that you don't really think about. You sort of think about the immediate environment that they're in, but it really does have an effect. You know, imagine you're in a dark room trying to go to sleep, maybe you're a bit upset, someone comes in and then, oh wow, it's bright out there, what's going on? I want to go and see, you know, obviously life is still happening outside of here. So you get the message. So calm before bedtime. And the other thing to avoid is screens, TV screens, devices. They all give off what's called blue light, and that, as I've mentioned before, affects the brain, affects the production of melatonin. So I would try and avoid TV for an hour before bed if you can. I know that can be tricky. I love CBeebies bedtime hour, which is just lovely. I just wish they did it an hour earlier. Try not to just watch that and then go to bed. It's too much screen time. Record it, put it on a bit earlier. They don't have to miss out on their favorite program. If you have an Iggle fan, that's fine. But do it a little bit earlier, so that you can have a gap. Even if you have a 20-minute gap where you just stop, do a jigsaw puzzle, or just play a quiet game on the floor, or look at a book together, and then go, okay, and now it's off to bed. You know, bedtime routine time. So yeah, winding down, no screens. And another thing that you can do, so this is what I call sort of your triggers. These are triggers to sort of signal that it's daytime or nighttime. So maybe you do these already, but if you're having issues with an early riser, you need to step up your game when it comes to day and night cues and signals. So another one is your voice and how you are. So in the daytime, you talk, you're probably animated, you're interactive. So when it comes to sleepy time and it's bedtime, it's nighttime, drop that to a whisper, and then everything you say is shh, night, night, lie down, sleepy time. You know, it's all whisper level. I'm not going to whisper now, or you might not hear me. But keep your voice at a whisper if your child is supposed to be going to bed. And don't use full voice again until at least after 6 a.m. When it is acceptable for it to be morning. The main reason for this is because the sound of your voice is stimulating. It's also something that happens in the day. And again, we want to show this difference between day and night. That difference is how you conduct yourself as well. So yeah, you being very calm, quiet, serene, chilled, not all playful, interactive, full voice, you know, all that kind of thing. I mentioned then about 6 a.m. and that's another key point. So no matter what happens, don't start the day before 6 a.m. period. Anything with a 5 in it is nighttime. It might be light and sunny outside with a blue sky and all lovely, but if it's pre 6 a.m. it's still nighttime. The only exception to that is if you have a very sort of different arrangement and your whole family are up earlier, go to bed earlier and do everything a little bit earlier. But in a regular sort of routine, 6 has got to be the earliest, surely. I'm hoping everyone agrees with me on that. Some of you might be going, God, 6? I want at least 7 out of mine. Well, we can work on that and we can get to 7 eventually. But if you've got an early riser, I would definitely say, look, let's set the target realistically, something they can achieve. Let's get to 6. Let's get them regularly to 6, and then we can nudge it on bit by bit. There's definitely work you can do there, but just get them to 6 first of all. Let's not try and push too far. So things you can do to try and push them on and get them to 6. One that I'm going to give you here, this isn't going to fix it, but it really does help. It's a good aid. If your little one is 20 months or above, or around that age, or above, and I mean up to, I don't know, 6, 7, whenever they grow out of it really, a sleep-wake clock can be very handy. I think the most publicized and one that people know about is the Grow clock, but I don't recommend that one. Main reason being, well, there's a couple of reasons. One, it has quite a bright blue light on it, but the other one is that it relies on a child's knowledge and understanding of shapes and colors. So you need to know that stars and blue means sleep, and sunshine and yellow means wake. You need to kind of be able to apply a double layer of knowledge to that. I recommend clocks, and I've got a travel one here actually, this kind of thing, because it tells you, I'll just make sure I have no reflection on that, it tells you what to do. It's got a little sheep here, sorry, this one's a sheep one. It's got a little sheep here tucked up in bed. It's nighttime, sheep's in bed. Daytime, up. And it's visual. It tells you immediately, you can see, and that's it's easier to understand at a younger age. You might be thinking, well, my child's 4, I'm going to keep Grow clock. Cool, that's fine if that works and your child gets it, fine. If you're just starting out with these clocks, I'd go for one of these. And this one actually, this travel version of this one, the nighttime section is an amber colored light, which isn't so bad. Some of them are actually blue here. It's okay. I've got one, it's quite a low light, it's not too bright, but it is still blue. It's a darkish blue, but it is still blue. So if you can get this amber setting, it is better for their sleep. So those are good. As I say, they tend to, don't think, oh yeah, I'll just buy this magic clock, put it in the room, and boom, my child's going to wake up later. It doesn't work like that. It's in addition to the work you put in, and in addition to the consistency that you apply to, how you respond to your child and what you're going to do about the night wakings or the early rising. So they are handy, and they often work well with the sort of toddlers and up, with a little reward. So if you can stay in your bed quietly until the sheep is up, then you will get a sticker on your chart, or you will just whatever works for your child. Little rewards, incentives. As human beings, we love that. We love reward. We don't go to work for fun in most cases. We go to work because there's a paycheck at the end of the month. It's there's a reward, there's an incentive, there's a reason to do it. And little ones love that, and they love the achievement when they get the sticker or the toy car or whatever it might be. And it's that real sense of pride, and yes, I did it. So if they're old enough for that, then that can work well too. Incentivize. So also, if you're having a problem with this, and it may have come out of nowhere, it may have been triggered by something, whatever the reason it began, don't reinforce the behaviors, because once they start, they'll only continue if they work. By that, I mean the behavior. If, for instance, you have a child, I want to think about some different ages here, but I'm thinking about maybe a little one that can get out of bed, is waking up, coming into your room, and they come out with all kinds of things. I'm hungry, I need the toilet, I'm scared, I saw a monster, you name it, you've heard it all. For whatever reason, if they come into you and then you say, oh yeah, okay, fine, just get into our bed, or that you let them in with you, or you go back in their room and start stroking their head until they're back to sleep, or something like that, which is, I'm suggesting this is not something you usually do, but say this is cropped up. If that behavior works, so if the child learns, well, I just come in and this is the result I get, they're going to keep doing it, because you've shown them that that's what they get. That's fair enough. So we don't want them to think this behavior works. So you don't want your child to think that it's 5:30, but I'm wide awake, mummy, so can I just get up now? And you go, yeah, okay then. They're going to think, brilliant. So you need to show them, no, you need to go back to bed. You need to stay in bed until a certain time. This is for a child who understands. For a child who understands, you need to keep replacing them and see it through till 6 a.m. They might not go back to sleep. You might not get to go back to sleep, but the chances are you're not anyway. So it's worth persevering, pushing through until they go, oh, this doesn't work. As human beings, we do not continue with behaviors that don't work. If it doesn't get us the result, we don't do it. So keep going, you can win that one. If you're talking about a younger one who doesn't actually understand, doesn't even get out because they're in a cot, let's say, baby in a cot, or a toddler in a cot standing up, they're just crying out or wriggling and fussing and just crying because that's their way of communicating. They don't come out with all these wonderful elaborate reasons, they just cry. And it's their way of communicating. I can't get back to sleep, it's too hard, do it for me, help me, you know. Or maybe they're bouncing around full of beans, just going, hi, let's start the day, and they're just ready to play. That happens too. Sometimes parents say to me, they don't even seem tired. My child was up at 5, raring to go. So if that's the case, then you do need a plan. There are various ways you can approach it, but it might be something where you sit with the child, not interacting, just reassuring, shushing, staying there until they realize they're not getting up and they lie back down. That can be effective in some cases. It may be that you need to do a little bit of intermittent response. So you leave them for a bit, see if they're settled, go in, reassure, quick cuddle. Those kind of approaches can work too, and it will affect different children differently. That's something I help people with on a one-on-one basis every day. So I can certainly help you in more depth with that if you wanted to have a chat with me. But whatever plan you embark upon, whatever you decide to go for, stick to it, stick with it, see it through, and don't stop till 6. Once it's 6 in the morning, if you're in the room, step out for a minute. If you're out of the room, go back in and be in morning mode and just go, good morning. You might be shattered and you might have to dig deep, but go, good morning, well done, didn't you do well, even if they didn't. And just be all animated, and you've changed from nighttime mode to daytime mode. Your voice is back. You can open the curtains, turn lights on, and start the day. And that way your little one starts to learn the way you enter that room is going to have an outcome. So when you enter the room and it's quiet, look at your clock or whatever it might be, they're going back to sleep ultimately. When you enter the room in morning mode, it's time to get up. So again, little triggers can seem almost a bit silly for you, but believe me, these triggers do help. They're cueing, and they're especially with little ones, they help them to recognize and understand what's going to happen. So don't reinforce the behaviors that your little one has adopted over maybe the last few weeks or however long this has been going on. If you have got a seasonal early riser, then the chances are maybe they were sleeping well before, they're not now, and now they're stuck in a rhythm because they've been, for want of a better word, getting away with it. So it's time to sort of draw a line in the sand and go forward from here. So hopefully that's given you all some understanding about why and how this happens. It's not like someone's just waved some fairy dust over England and gone, all your children are going to wake. No, there is a seasonal aspect to it. And those of you who have got early risers who have been early rising for a long time anyway, quite possibly it could be worse now. It could have been made worse, or it could be spurred on by the light as well. And there's a whole bunch of things there that you can try to try and eliminate it. You've got the treating it when it happens, so how you respond to your child when they wake early. You've also got your triggers and your cues, and all these things that you can do to set the scene and get the atmosphere conducive to sleep. But also the working on things like, is my child overtired? Are they getting enough sleep in the day for their age? And don't underestimate that. So many people think, oh, my child's not tired, we'll just drop the nap. Probably are. They don't let on, but it's surprising how much sleep they do need in the day until they're really 3.5. That's the average. So yeah, don't go dropping naps too soon. That's a whole nother topic, but they are really important. So is your child overtired? Are they getting their daytime sleep? Are they having a few too many late nights? because if you can address that piece, then you might actually eliminate the early rising anyway. So you've got two angles there to work at it from. I really hope that this information is helpful, and that some of you can, over the next week, see a rapid difference in how your little one's sleep is going. So I can't see any questions here. I don't know if this is because it's not working properly. I have had a problem with the chat box before. If you are on the Facebook page, feel free to type questions in the comments thread underneath the notification about this happening. I'll look on there. I'll keep an eye on there as well, because I don't see any on here. I'm just going to check the settings though, because I'd love to take some real life questions. No, none on there so far. That's fine. Let's see if any pop up. And in the meantime, I'm going to check in here. I can see some of you are there. I know you're there. I just can't see any questions coming in. Chat. Yeah, no, that's definitely the chat. Nope, nothing there. If you haven't got a question, can you just type, someone just type, is chat working in the box, and just enter it just so that I can see something. Ah, comment pending. Someone is interacting with me, but it's gone to email. Interesting. Let's have a look at that then. Gotta love technology, hey? Bear with me. If you're the person who's sent something to me, I'm going to find it. Ah, okay. It's not in there. Check on here. Okay, right, yeah. Got a question here. Okay, I'm going to find this. I've found a way. This will work. Okay, so we have a very strong-willed and articulate 19-month-old who will almost certainly just scream for an hour if we don't get him up at 5. Feels like he wants to be asleep but can't get back to sleep. He had around 3 hours of sleep in the day. Okay, yeah, that's a tricky one. So he's getting his day, 19 months, good daytime sleep. If he's been doing this for a few nights, that could be why he's had 3 hours in the day, because he might be catching up. Will scream for an hour if you don't get him up at 5, and it does seem like he wants to be asleep but can't get back to sleep. Yeah, so he probably needs some help. You probably need some help getting back to sleep at that time, because it's a really tricky time to put yourself back to sleep. So what I would suggest doing in that case is, first of all, have a look at bedtime. So just revisit in your mind, how does bedtime go? How is he settling to sleep at the beginning of the night? Is he completely and totally putting himself to sleep? If it's a case of, yeah, it all goes really well, we put him down and he's asleep within 5 minutes, that's a bit quick. So that would suggest he's probably going down a little bit too sleepy. We really want to see 10 to 20 minutes of settling to know that it's definitely a self-settle. So have a look at bedtime, make sure he's definitely doing it there. He might well be doing it there and then finding it harder later. You know, if there are any night wakings, is he getting himself back to sleep at those times? And then when it comes to 5, why is it different? It really is probably because it's tougher. It's harder. The closer you get to morning, the harder it is to resettle to sleep. So he might just be finding it really tough, and he needs a bit of help, bit of coaching, bit of guidance to get there. And practice. Something else I just thought something else that you could try. 19 months. So you could introduce a clock and start to incentivize and show him that at 19 months. He won't get it straight away, but he will definitely be able to start taking that in and understanding that. And when you go in at 5, like I said, go in very quiet. If it takes maybe sitting with him, you can be very sort of sleepy and just shushing. And you know, if he gets distressed, give him a cuddle, help him lie back down. He might get up and down 20 times, but what you're showing him is you're not getting up till 6. That's what you need to show him, is that it's not happening. Because if he screams for half an hour, and then you get him up. All he's learning is that, okay, I'll just hold out longer and harder tomorrow. And he'll keep going because he knows that that works. You want to show him that it doesn't work. And your message really is, I know you want to go back to sleep, and I'm here to help you. I can't do it for you, but I can help you, and you can get back to sleep and get that sleep he really needs, because he needs it. He wants it. He just can't do it. So practice on that one, and also do double check your light stuff. Just make sure there isn't loads of light coming through, or he's getting some early sun rays coming in, because I'm gathering this is possibly a sort of a recent thing that's cropped up. I'm not sure, but it could be. So hopefully that answers that one for you. Okay, so I'm getting the chat. Thank you for typing that in as well. Is the chat working? It somehow is, but it's coming through. It's coming through to email, and it's not coming through on the live chat feed, which would be really handy if it did. So if anyone else has any questions, do type them in the chat. I will get them. It's just a funny way around that they're coming through. They're coming through to my emails. Very strange. So I'm trying to think of any other questions that you might be wondering. I think I've been pretty thorough and given you lots of answers. But when it comes to things like, my child won't go back to sleep unless I, or won't stop screaming unless I get him up, then you're in a vicious cycle, because the getting him up is just reinforcing the fact that you've got to scream and then I'll get you up. So try and find a way that works for you, that you're comfortable with, that keeps him in his cot until 6. And if that, as I said, means sitting with him, if it might mean that he's too stimulated by that. It might mean that you step outside, maybe you sit outside the room, pop back in, intermittently reassure, really whatever works for you guys. But the message you need to send is, it's not time to get up yet. And that you'll help as best you can for him to master that skill to go back to sleep at the until morning time. I hope that helps. Okay, so I'm going to try and, but in case any other questions come in, no, that's not one. I'm trying to think of some nice early morning experiences I've had that might make you laugh or feel less alone. Our son's the classic. He starts the day early. And when I say early, I'm talking about 6:30. So I know that doesn't really count, because as I've said that 6 is acceptable. We prefer 7 in our house, and we've achieved it. So now I don't want anything less than that. But he's usually awake by 6:30. He's 5 now. He's coming up for 6. So he's well trained. He's the one that inspired me in the first place and got me into all of this when he was just 21 months old. But he will stay in his room quietly until his clock says it's morning time, and then he comes into us. But occasionally he'll try his luck, and he'll come in, and there'll be something. There'll be, I can't sleep, or what have I had recently? If he's read a book and there's something in it, like he saw something the other day and it was scorpions were in it, and I saw a scorpion in my room, and I said, you didn't see a scorpion in your room. Things that might be playing on his mind. And I think it really is just boredom. He's awake and he just doesn't want to be on his own, which is understandable. Let's face it, it's understandable. When we grow up, when we're adults, we don't tend to sleep on our own. We have double beds and we have bed partners as adults. So why do we have to make them sleep on their own as children? It's difficult, isn't it? But so valuable, so that everyone can get their sleep that they need. And all kinds of early morning interesting inquiries that we get from him, which are quite entertaining. I think we've got some questions coming in, so I'm going to check these out, because more important that I answer your questions. Let me see. Okay, so we've got no, that's the same one again. Okay. Okay, yeah, good. I'm glad you're still with me. So our person here asking a question has just said, I understand what you're saying, but if he screams for an hour, doesn't that just teach him that if he screams for an hour, he can then get up? He won't understand it's 6 a.m. Absolutely no, he won't understand the time. He doesn't know the time. No, so we don't want him to scream for an hour and then just get up. So what you want to do is encourage him back to sleep during that hour. So I'm going to talk about the most gentle approach here. There are various different ways you can do this, but if, for instance, you go in when he wakes enough that you need to go in, just sit next to him, sit next to the cot, sit in a chair, and just stay chilled. You can half shut your eyes if you want. Let him see that it's sleepy time. It's night time. It's not time to be up. Keep it nice and dark. Make some shushing sound. He might not hear you if he's yelling, so you might need to reach over and give him a little pat or stroke. He'll probably be like, get off, I want to get up, because that's all he wants. What you're showing him is, we're not going to do that, so here is what we can do. Here is what I am going to do with you. If he's standing up, you could, gently hold his hands, ease him back down, but stay calm. You don't want to be coming across like you're cross with him, but at the same time, you don't want to be coming across like it's all, interactive, lovey-dovey. It's just very neutral, very bland. And you can help him down, give him a little pat and whisper, lie down, sleepy time, and he'll probably get back up. Of course he will. He might keep screaming, he might put his arms up, get me out of here. Keep going, just shh, it's okay, mummy's here. And if you have to sit there for an hour showing him that he's supposed to be asleep, then that's fine. That you're not going to sleep anyway, let's face it. So stick it out, stay there, shushing, bit of stroking if need be. If that makes it worse, don't do anything. Just stay there, drop your head and just be like, occasional shh. Whispering lie down is good at this age as well, because you keep hearing that and know what that means. And he might even try, he might be like, yeah, okay, oh, but I just can't do it. And that's a good sign. It shows he's trying, and you're reassuring, so he's not alone. And then if you get an hour in and it's 6 a.m. and you go, right, okay, we're going to start the day now. Instead of just going, this is where this kind of answers your point, I think, because instead of just going from sitting there to going, okay, then time to get up, and picking him up out of the cot and just abandoning ship, yes, that would then teach him that if he keeps going and if he holds out long enough, you will cave. So just instead of doing that, just stop. You go, right, I'm going to get him up. This isn't happening. So step out of the room, close the door behind you, stay out of the room for a good 60 seconds, at least 1 minute. It's not long. Yeah, he's going to cry, but he is anyway. So just 1 minute. And then when you go back in, all morning, bright and breezy, and you're showing him that it's morning time. And as I said, if you can couple this with a clock, it's brilliant, because you can show him, you can, when you go in the room, you can go, look, rabbit's in bed, or the sheep is in bed, or whatever it is. When it's morning time and you go, morning, you can go, look, it's up now, time to get up. Whatever his name is, sheepy's up, so-and-so's up, yeah, and start showing him. It's not an overnight magical fix. It's not a quick fix. It's a process. It's something you have to do every day for at least a week before, and consistently, super consistently. You can't have one day where you break. So really consistently. And with that clock as well, he'll get to grips with it. He'll start to understand what it means, and he'll start to go, I'll wake up, I look at that, it's bedtime, I'll lie back down. I know that sounds like a miracle right now, but it will happen over time if you keep it, do it till you're bored of it, till you're sick of it, and you're sick of saying, look, sheep in bed, you're in bed, sheep is up, you're up, and keep showing him at bedtime, show him any waking he has until 6, and then it's up. You set the timer on these things, so it will flick over. It will flick over at 6. It will turn to wake up time. If you've got that in sync and you set that in time with, say, your phone, you can look at your phone and go, yeah, it's definitely 6. It's definitely going to be up when I open that door. And then you can't go in and go, oh God, it's not up yet. So setting that helps too. So yeah, we're not teaching him to cry and scream and hold out for an hour because he's got to somehow know that at 6 it's okay. He's not going to know that. You're absolutely right. He can't tell the time. He doesn't know why it's not okay to get up at 5 when at the moment 5 looks like daytime. So we want to stop 5 from looking like daytime to him, so no daylight's getting in his room, so he's not going to know. He's got no reason to think that it's daytime. He's definitely getting his daytime sleep, so that's good. Just check that's at the right time of day as well. So I'm sure it is. And you said 3 hours, so I can't see how that could really go wrong. But if, for instance, it was at 10 o'clock in the morning and then he was done, and then you had a big long stretch between waking up and then bedtime, then that could still create a bit of overtiredness. But I think it's highly unlikely with 3 hours at this age that there's overtiredness going on. So I think you're safe there. And yeah, just keep going. You're not teaching him to scream for an hour. You're teaching him night and day. When it's time to settle back down, this is what we're going to do. We need to learn to lie back down and go to sleep. When it's time to get up for the day, these are the things that happen. This is the changes that occur to show you that now it's daytime, now it's okay. I hope that makes sense. I hope that answers your question. So I don't think we have any other questions. I'm going to just double check, but we are coming up to the hour, and I think we're just about covered everything. Not seeing any other questions in the thread here. So I think I'm going to wrap things up. If you do have any more questions on this topic, and if maybe you haven't had a chance to type it in, or you're sort of still mulling it over, or maybe it comes to you in an hour's time when you think, hang on a minute, there's something she said and I just want to check how this applies to my situation, anything like that. If something comes up, type it into the Facebook thread underneath the piece. If you're on Facebook and you've seen that we said today we're going to do this live broadcast at 8 o'clock tonight, if you've seen that on our page, type question in underneath that. Or of course you can email anytime. You can email us support@sleepnanny.co.uk with any questions, and myself or one of the team will get back to you, because ultimately we want to help you. This is my mission. My mission is to get as many sleeping families out there as possible, because I know what it's like when you're not getting your sleep, and I don't wish that on anyone. So if I can help you, I absolutely want to. So I hope this has been helpful for you all. Please stick around, in our Facebook page and things. We're going to be doing lots more of these kind of, one-offs. So if you've got a topic as well that you think, oh, I really like to know all about napping or something else, let us know. Write into us. Tell us what you want to hear about, because we want to send you what you need to know. Okay, so thanks guys. Have a good evening, and I will see you all soon.